Well, hey there, this is Seth from REtipster.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how this online service called Cozy works, particularly when you are a landlord and you've just created a property listing that you're advertising to the world. Once you start getting potential tenants to land on that listing page, how they can right from that page start submitting their information online and filling out an application so that you can then review it to see whether or not you want them to stay in your property. This is one of the things I love about Cozy, is that they have a lot of different and very useful tools that are all built into this software. And for the landlord, all of this stuff is free to use because any costs that come up in the process of using this software are paid for by the tenant. But anyway, once a potential renter lands on the listing page for the property that you're trying to rent out, they're going to see something like this. As you can see, this is just an example that I created. When they scroll down, they're going to see this little form right here where they can apply online. And if they've ever worked with Cozy before, they can sign in and start doing it that way. But in a lot of cases, these people are going to be brand new to Cozy. They've never used it before with any other landlord. And all they would have to do is go ahead and fill out their information and get started this way. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm a tenant and we'll go through this process. I'll go ahead and create my new account and continue. Okay, so say if I was like a college kid and me and another roommate were going to rent the house together, we could do it that way. In this case, though, I'm just going to apply alone, so it's going to be just me. And then for the renter profile, this is where I can start telling the landlord about who I am. So go ahead and click Start. And again, the only reason I'm showing you this is just so that you understand if you start using this software to advertise your properties and if you want tenants to apply through your listing, this is what they're going to see as they go through that process. So I'll just go ahead and start putting in the information here. I'll kind of zoom through this. So right here, similar to any other rental application or even job application that you'd see out there, people can enter in their current and former work history. They can indicate pretty clearly how long they've been there. So if it's like a job they just got yesterday versus a job they've had for like 5 years, they can sort of give an idea for how stable or predictable that stream of income is for them. And the reason that might be important for you is because that's what they're going to be using to pay their rent. They can also fill out any additional income they have here. So, say if they have like a side hustle or some other business income, they could put that here too, and they could put any notes here that relate to that. Then they can also put their past 2 years of residence history just so you can see where they're currently living now or where they're coming from. They'll also have to put in their landlord or property manager's name and contact information, assuming they're currently renting from somebody else. And then if they want to add another residence that they've stayed in the past couple of years, they can do that too. Then they can add any notes if they want. And then in terms of references, they can list a couple references here so that you can check up on them and just see what kind of person you're dealing with. And then once all that information is filled out, you can move on here. And then emergency contact, they would put whoever that is. And then pets, this is something that you'll definitely want to know about. In this particular instance, I said that pets were negotiable. So if somebody wants to add that, they can. So we're going to say we've got a dog, Bouvier. And then, do we smoke? Nope, we don't smoke. Have not filed for bankruptcy in the past 7 years. Have not been evicted. Have not refused to pay rent. And have not been convicted of anything. And keep in mind, for some of this stuff, you're actually going to be able to cross-check whether or not the person is lying. So you don't necessarily have to just go on their word, but it's still good to get them to just answer these things up front. And the next step, when it comes time to do the tenant screening, when you can order a copy of the applicant's credit report and background check, you can actually look at a lot of these things. And if there have been bankruptcies or evictions or refusals to pay rent or convictions, there's a pretty solid chance you'll see evidence of that in those reports. So just keep that in mind. And then we're going to click Save and Continue. Oh, looks like I missed something. Oh, there we go. Okay, click Save and Continue. And then when I created this listing, I required a credit report and a background check. So as an applicant, what they're going to see is, as the next step in the process, they have to complete this credit report and background check. So they can't even really submit their application until they do this stuff. And when they get to this part, they'll have to go ahead and fill out all their information. I've got a separate video that we'll jump to next that shows what this whole process looks like. But just so you can see from this point of view, the tenant has to fill out all this information and then answer a few security questions. And when it comes time to actually pull the trigger and order these reports, the person who pays for these reports is the applicant/tenant. So again, this is not something the landlord pays for. This is something the tenant pays for. And then when they submit this information, it lands in the inbox of the landlord, and they can check out all the information, take a look at the credit reports and background checks, and see if this applicant is somebody that they're interested in starting a landlord-tenant relationship with. So to see what the rest of this process looks like, hop over to the next video in the series where I'm going to show you how to pull these credit reports, what that process looks like for both the tenant and the landlord. And also, if you're not familiar with how to read credit reports and background checks, I'll give you a quick overview on how to make sense of those as well. So with that said, we'll see you in the next video.